Welcome to the Say It Out Loud podcast. I'm your host, Vasavi Kumar. If you're eager to gain clarity, speak with unwavering confidence, and liberate those inner voices, you're in the perfect spot. My mission here is to empower you to break free, find fulfillment, and ignite your passion. You ready? It's time to say it out loud. I've put together a guide of my top 10 tested and proven to work practical strategies and habits to help bright women like you say no, set your boundaries right, live confidently, and build healthy relationships, starting with the relationship you have with yourself. This is a self-paced guide, and I can't wait for you to dig into it so you can start becoming your most confident self, because she's in there waiting for you. Head to the link in my show notes or go to vasavikumar.com/guide and grab it today. Welcome back to another episode of the Say It Out Loud podcast. By request, I was asked to record an episode about life after divorce. And I have not ever really talked about what life was like for me after divorce, mostly because I had so much anger about it. And I couldn't get myself to a place where I could speak about it from a place of learning and knowledge and wisdom and the lessons learned. I would just find myself getting really dysregulated and flustered by the entire thing. So I'm finally at a place where I can talk about life after divorce and what that was like. And so if you're going through divorce right now, if you're going through a divorce or if you're going through a breakup, okay, of any kind, I feel like this episode is going to help you because I want to dig into what that experience was like for me and what I learned from it all. And maybe in sharing that, it'll help you. If you're thinking about walking away from a relationship, if you're currently going through a divorce, or maybe you've been divorced, you haven't processed the grief of the divorce. And that was me for a very long time. Like, I didn't actually sit and process the grief of what it really felt like to no longer be married. I didn't process the feeling like a failure, feeling like I was a letdown, feeling like now I'm just damaged goods. Like, that's what I would think about myself and believe about myself during that time that I was newly divorced. So the first thing that I want to say is that when I first decided to get divorced, I was in India in the mountains with my mother studying Ayurveda. I had just graduated from culinary school, and I wanted to do my internship in India. So I went to India to learn cooking, and it was a lot of fun. And during that time, I had been married for 3 years, and I decided I would no longer wanted to be in this marriage. I mean, I just knew it. I just knew it. And the thing that always kept me in that relationship is because he made more money than me. So for me, that's why I'm so heavy on the financial independence for women, because I know that the reason that I stayed and the reason why I didn't leave is because I didn't have a way out financially. I had some coaching clients here and there. I had some therapy clients here and there, but nothing to fully sustain me on my own. And after I got divorced, I worked 5 jobs to pay the bills. Now, you might be wondering, why didn't you go all in with your coaching and your therapy? Well, I didn't have enough to do that. Like I just had to survive at that time because I was paying my rent for the first time on my own. I was paying my utilities. I was paying gas. I was doing everything on my own for the first time. And I just hustled and I did whatever I had to do. So, man, if I could go back to that version of myself, I would say to her, go all in with one thing. But I respect that version of myself so much that did whatever she had to do to pay the bills. But I can also have so much compassion for her because she was really so dysregulated and living in fight or flight. And she was just like, I gotta do it all. You know what I mean? And yeah, I feel bad for her. I have a lot of compassion for her. And yeah, but the biggest lesson, that I learned is to go all in, go all in on that dream, whatever that is. And yes, sometimes you got to do what you got to do en route to that dream, but realize that all of that is part of that process. And that's what I'm telling myself right now too. It's like I always had my eye on the prize of being someone that people could look up to as a role model and be human in the process. And I didn't want to just be someone that people, worshipped or bowed down to, or, was like, oh, she can do no wrong. I wanted to show the very human side of me as well, and show people that it's safe to be human. It is safe to be human. Not always in many situations, but I wanted people to feel safe within themselves. And so that's the path that I've always had my eye on. But after I got divorced, I just did whatever I had to do to pay the bills at that point. So the second thing is I got into a relationship way too quickly. So for me, I look at everything as a stepping stone to where I am today. And I really like where I am today. However, if someone newly divorced were to come to me right now and ask, should I start dating right away? I would say no. I would say no. That's the advice that I would give myself. Now, everyone is different, so take this as you want. Take it with a grain of salt or don't. But I just found that getting into a relationship right away, and then I moved this person in with me within 4 months of meeting that person, it was the wrong move. I mean, I wanted to be alone so bad. Part of my want and need of getting divorced was that I really craved being alone. But I also was very terrified of being alone. So it's funny how that works, right? Like, we want something really bad, but we're also deeply terrified if we get it, So it was like really making peace with that for me. But in the meantime, I got distracted, and I met somebody way younger than me. And I've spoken about this on previous podcast episodes, so I'm not going to really get into it here. If you go back to like 2021, I speak about this. So yeah, I mean, I got into this relationship really quickly, and it just took over, and I had no space for myself. And so I would tell anyone, should I get out there again? Should I start dating? I would say no. It's like, really spend some time with yourself and process this. Like, yeah, go out and socialize, go out with your friends, but like getting into like a brand new relationship right away, like that's a hard no for me. That's a hard no for me. And I'm saying this because of what I've been through. So you can agree or disagree, but just know that I'm speaking from my perspective. That's it. And my perspective is not right or wrong. It just is, because it's mine. So that's it. It's neutral. Okay. So what else do I want to say about life after divorce? The one thing that I've had to really come to terms with is feeling like a failure, like I couldn't make a relationship work. I never realized how much that divorce impacted how I viewed all the other subsequent relationships that I had. So I really felt like a failure, and I went into every relationship that I got into with that mindset of, this is doomed to fail because I don't know how to make relationships work. That was me really berating myself because I felt like a failure because I asked for a divorce. So I know this is easier said than done, but if you're going through it right now and you're feeling like a failure, I really just want to say the thing, which is you are not. You are not. It takes a lot of gumption and courage and conviction to walk away from a marriage. I know that is what it was for me. So once again, I'm speaking from my perspective here, that it was so hard for me to walk away. And I tried in so many ways to kill the marriage off so he would leave me, but he would never leave. So I knew that I had to be the one to walk away. So if you're going through it right now, just please borrow some belief and confidence from me right now when I say this with so much certainty, that you are not a failure. Okay? You're not a failure. And this is really where we get to be with ourselves, and we get to process our emotions. We get to get in touch with our emotions. I just recorded a podcast episode about getting in touch with your emotions. It's the one right before this. Go listen to it if you haven't. We get to really do this beautiful work, which is to allow ourselves to emote and express and to say the thing that hasn't been said out loud. And if you're listening to this and you need support right now, then I want you to head to the link in my show notes and book a 30-minute call with me, and we can talk about working together. And maybe it'll help. Maybe it'll help to be face-to-face with someone who you have some connection with, you know what I mean? Like you've heard me on my podcast and we can get to know each other and see if it's a good fit and process that stuff out loud. Give yourself the space and the time for you to be able to express yourself. So we get to do this beautiful work, okay? We get to do this beautiful work where we go inwards and we spend that time with ourselves. And, you know, you're going through a divorce, or you've been out of a divorce and you haven't really spent that time with yourself. I want you to prioritize you. Like, make yourself the most important person in your world. And if you have kids, I'm not suggesting that you neglect your children. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but don't be an afterthought. Don't be an afterthought in your own life. Okay? So put yourself first in some shape or form, whether it's waking up a few minutes early so you can enjoy your coffee in silence, whatever it is for you. You know, finally scheduling that massage, going to that spin class, whatever it is for you, that walk that you've been wanting to take, that museum you've been wanting to try out, those things that you want to do, they deserve your attention, and they're not frivolous. So these are the things that I wish I would have learned after divorce, is to really spend that time with myself. I was just in a relationship for a very long time after that. Then I got into another relationship again after that. So now I'm in a place where I officially feel untethered to anybody, and I'm just free as a bird, and it feels really, really good. So there is hope. There is really hope. Like, it will get better. You won't always feel like a failure, and I never really specified if this episode is for someone who's asked for the divorce or was served the divorce, but I don't really know. I think either way, regardless of the situation, there's grief that needs to be processed, regardless of how it happened. I know my ex-husband had to process a lot of his grief, and he did that in his way. I processed my grief in very self-destructive ways, actually. And so that's where my addiction to cocaine came in. And so that's how I was dealing with life. And that's a whole nother episode, and I've recorded episodes about this already. So go back to the archives and make sure you listen, and you'll find it. But yeah, I wanted to come in here into my booth and record this episode because it's been on my mind, and a friend asked me to record an episode about this, and I said, you know what, let me do that. I mean, I've been divorced now for 10 years. I've been divorced 10 years now. So yeah, I've learned a thing or two in these past 10 years, and there's lots of things that I wish I would have done differently. I'm also grateful for all of it because I like who I am now. So if I like who I am now, then I needed all of those experiences to get to where I am today. But I know that there is an opportunity to go back to someone who's going through something right now. Like, go back to that former self of mine, give her those words of wisdom, like, hey, I'm just telling you what I went through, and here's my 2 cents, here's my advice, here's my wish for you, so that's what I'm doing here. And I really hope this episode helped somebody today, and if it did, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. My handle is my name is Vasavi. You can also download, we have a bunch of free stuff in the show notes. I have a guide, I have a video. There's also a shop where you can get my online courses. So yeah, take a peek, take a stab. If you're not already subscribed to the podcast, go ahead and subscribe. If you get a moment, please leave a review. And I want to say thank you so much. If you listened all the way to the end, thank you so much. I'll catch you next time. And don't forget, say it out loud. If you love today's episode, then say it out loud. Subscribe, leave a review, and come say hi over on Instagram at My Name is Vasavi. Until next time, say it out loud.